Okay, just make sure to start the recording. Okay. So as our true self, as presence, as reality, as truth, as per our direct experience, there is no separate anything. Your experience, the reality of your experience, is not taking place in time. You do not exist in time. So you never actually leave the present to experience a past or a future. Double check it out. In the directness of your experience, there is nothing apart from yourself. Take a look at that. Take a look right now. Notice that you never leave yourself, and nothing ever leaves you and returns to you. You're always 100% whatever it is. Whatever you are. And in your totality, and as your totality, there are no issues. Nothing lacking. And there is no separate personal self anywhere that needs to attain or realize anything. Outside of your imagination, there is no separation. Notice the absence of borders. To yourself. When you dive deeply into yourself, you don't take a step, any step closer to yourself or further from yourself. So that the eternity of being is available to you in this moment as your very being and the eternity of being are the same being, the universal being, impersonal being. What gives you the impression that you exist in time and space if it isn't a passing thought or a passing feeling? But the passing thought and passing feeling, they're gone. They're no longer here. That which is here is I. I, this beingness, aware, presence, that is not trying to improve anything. whatever you're trying to improve is false if it refers to yourself. You can try to improve the lentil soup that you are cooking, less salt or more salt. Maybe a bit of nutmeg, cloves. But when it comes to yourself, which is not an object, which is not an event, which is awareness. Talking about improvement of awareness is silly conversation. You never leave the now. You are this now. The peace of being. The love, the beauty. Any effort that you do is in the wrong direction. If it is an effort towards yourself, it's in the wrong direction. You can exert a lot of effort in planting a garden, building a hut. But any effort you exert towards yourself who or what is exerting an effort? Are you not yourself already? Not an image or an idea or a bunch of sensations and feelings. But wherever you are you not that already? What's truly lacking in this moment? We need to imagine a better now in order to find any issue with this now. But no matter how many better nows you imagine, now remains now as it is. Even if you struggle with the now, your struggle with the now is now, the same now. It's always now. Never becomes a different now than the now that is. And in this now, there is no me and you. There is just I. Not I, a personal I, a separate I, a big I, a small I, a female I, a male I, an intelligent I, stupid I. I am. There isn't a better I or worse I. There may be a thought that appears about a good I or a bad I, a better life or a worse life. But the thought is an appearance that I perceive, has no impact whatsoever onto I awareness. Like a cloud that appears in the sky in the shape of a dragon, has no effect whatsoever onto the wide open sky of consciousness. So whatever you are struggling with is an imaginary struggle of an imaginary character with an imaginary world. When you try to improve yourself, it only refers to you, not it refers to you imagining yourself to be something improvable. What if in this moment you don't imagine yourself at all? No imagination, pure presence. I am, but I don't know what I am. nor do I need to know what I am. In the eternity of now, you are always meeting yourself. Whatever you meet, whatever you experience is your very self. Because in the eternity of now, there is no separation, no past, no future. So invite your entire being, invite yourself to this totality, to this infinity. Because it is that which you are. So if there are any questions, please make sure you unmute yourself. And you're welcome to turn on your video.
Hi, Magdi. Can you listen to me?
Yes, I hear you. Yes.
Okay. Okay. There is something that resonates very much in your teaching is when you say awareness is the presence, the here and now is effortless. There is no need to make an effort. And in my experience, I put a lot of effort in the last years since I started practicing meditation more often, and I went to retreats and so on. A lot of effort and concentrating the mind and meditating. But in the last months, I have been enjoying the being here and now effortlessly. And it has been boosted by your teaching because you always say awareness is effortless. And but on the other hand, I still have some thoughts about it. And the Buddha talks about right effort in the Eightfold Path, and maybe the right effort is no effort. Or can you talk about a little bit about this dichotomy between right effort or
yes,
no effort, please?
You are a painter, and you love painting and creating art, and sometimes there is some effort involved in, I don't know, maybe getting the canvas, buying the paint. Maybe you have to sometimes, maybe you're standing for a couple of hours and you're sort of trying to figure just the right colors and mixing this color. No, it's not. Maybe it's that color. Well, yeah, maybe, but that's not it. And I gotta change it. But one could say that there is some effort that you're exerting, but from your perspective, because you have a passion, for painting, creating art, and sharing your work, it's not effort. It's an effort that's soaked in love. There's something within you that's alive, that's lit, that's burning. As a way of speaking, it's not painful burning, but it's a passion. And in that passion, sometimes you may wake up at 2 o'clock in the morning if you see something that you want to put it in some on the canvas, while somebody would have a very hard time getting up at 2 o'clock in the morning. You may jump out of bed and do it. To say, in terms of our spiritual work, in a way, it's similar. There is a certain interest which grows, develops into love, and eventually into passion. in the absence of this interest, you know, you may go to the Himalayas and work with Tibetan monks just because, you know, you heard that that's a great spiritual thing to do, and you want to be a great spiritual guy, and you go out there, and after a week you're just like, you're going out of your mind. What am I doing here? You know, am I crazy? And you end up going downtown Kathmandu and drinking some wine or some sake in the local bar. I don't know. So what draws us to inquiry, to investigation, is a certain interest and a certain eventually love for that type of work. And all of us who are here in this meeting, we already have been visited by God. We've already had the visit. Consciousness has already glimpsed to us herself. Consciousness has already shown herself to us. And so in a way, we already are infected by this interest.
The virus.
Yes, infected by the virus of truth. So on one hand, it could seem like it's an effort. I recall like going to retreats. God, I mean, where in the Zen retreats, you would sit motionless, right posture, and, you know, the hands in a certain posture. He's sitting on a mat, you know. I'm not Japanese. I mean, sitting on a mat on a cushion, and you cross your legs, and within 3 minutes, you know, you want to get up because, you know, your knees are hurting, your back is hurting, your neck is hurting, and you don't know how your all sorts of thoughts are appearing within you. But somehow there was something that kept me on that mat. So yeah, there was effort, one could say, but I was so interested in, passionate actually, very quickly passionate about this inquiry, this path, the path of looking, of investigating. So it's effort, no effort, you know. It's sometimes, you know, I would spend my vacations in a retreat. You know, I mean, people go to, I don't know, the beach, they go to Florence, they go to Paris, they go to the best restaurants. But I would go to retreat. There was no choice. That's what I wanted to do. That's what I deep down really wanted to do. And in the retreat, I mean, I wasn't like, you know, it wasn't vacation. No. At some point, the effort / no effort totally dissolves and it becomes effortless. There comes a point where you're just present. You're just present as presence. There comes a point where you're just presence, and you, in a way, it's as if presence is now recognizing itself. It's sort of, I remember there was a time in my sitting where I would just come and I sit on the mat during the retreat or any time, and it would be as if nothing was happening. And my life, my worldly life, my sitting life were just presence. This presence. And in the direct pointing is pointing to that which is pointing. So in this moment, that which we are speaking about and pointing to is that which is perceiving, which is speaking, which is. It's pointing to itself. So there is a sort of there's no longer any effort in that, because it's a recognition that here I am. Yes, there are thoughts, there are images, there are world events. So what? There could be daylight, sunlight, or it will be cloudy day, or sunset, or nighttime. It doesn't affect, it's no difference. No difference to, yes, there's a difference in the image on the screen, but at the core, at the level of reality, there's no difference. Here I am, not here I am as, as somebody, as this or that, or here I am as the emness, as presence, as being. It's as if consciousness recognizes itself as a way of speaking, or presence is aware of itself, is alive within itself, as a way of speaking, of course, because in language we are just being metaphorical. We are being metaphorical. So the peace of being, the peace is how the experience of presence is felt at the body-mind level. The peace and the freedom, the joy, the happiness. That's how consciousness being itself, and not being an object, not being somebody. That's how it expresses itself as peace, as love, as beauty. So consciousness at the mind level, it's wisdom and intelligence. And as the world, consciousness is beauty. And at the body level, consciousness is universal, transparent. Is it the body of the universe? The universe is the body of consciousness. It's a transparent presence. And at the feeling level, it's love. Love means no separation. So that it's universal love. So when we exert effort in the direction of our passion, in this case, in the direction of our love for truth, it's a good effort to exert. It's a good effort to exert. It may initially or at some point feel or seem to be an effort, but because it's in the direction of truth, in the direction of consciousness, which is beyond the impression of separation, we come to the understanding that in fact there is no effort. That there is no effort in being. There is no effort in love. There is no effort in truth. The effort is in maintaining an image of myself or maintaining the separate, the impression of a separate me. But what for? What for? In the realm of manifestation, everything is impermanent. Why trouble ourselves in making or attempting to make that which is impermanent permanent? It's not possible. You cannot make that which is impermanent permanent, nor can you make that which is permanent permanent. It already is permanent. That which is permanent in our experience is not objective, is not phenomenal. It is our reality, whatever it is. It is I. And this I is the reality that perceives right now. It's not an object, it's not a body, it's a transparent, aware presence. Which is veiled by the belief that this aware presence depends, relies, or arises out of a body-mind. This belief is the party pooper. It's a falsehood. Because when you look for that separate consciousness within the brain or within the body or within the mind, you won't find it. In fact, it's quite the opposite. You find that the body has images and sensations, and the mind has thoughts, creative thinking. They arise within awareness. So how could awareness be contained within that which arises within it? Is the ocean contained in a wave? The ocean is beyond all waves, beyond the mind being a series of waves. The ocean is the mind and beyond. The ocean is the reality of all minds, of all waves. But the waves are not the reality of the ocean. So in terms of effort, Francis often says, follow your enthusiasm, follow your passion, follow your love. If you love to go for a walk in the woods, you love to paint, you love to sing, you love to dance, you love to read Ramana Maharshi or Huang Po, you love to write poetry. Do what you love. Follow your enthusiasm, not your pleasure. Not your pleasure, but your love. That's where you will come to a true understanding about the effortless effort.
Mm-hmm. Right. Thank you, Magdi.
Okay, Fernando, nice to see you.
Yes, same.
Magdi.
Hola, Emmanuel, ¿cómo está, Emmanuel?
Oh, ¿qué pasa aquí?
Yeah, I see you and I hear you, yes.
Do you see me well?
Yes.
Wait a minute, because this camera looks weird. Okay, now it looks better. I was just listening to you, and a question came to my mind. Your love or passion for truth and this kind of efforts that you made, efforts about going to retreats and sitting in meditation for long periods of time. Like all these things were always motivated like a natural flow, or did you experience also motivations that came out of suffering, for example, or pain, or you know what I mean?
Yes, yes. Once you get a glimpse of your true nature, then it doesn't matter any longer what is seemingly triggering your interest or your passion, because it's already there, already awakened. We may focus on certain past or current events in our life and perceive these events as being the cause of our interest in truth. But since everything is interconnected, across time and space, to isolate a particular event or series of events out of the totality is incomplete in a way. Yes, suffering has its place, in our human experience, in that it's an unhappiness. I'm not talking about physical pain, but suffering as unhappiness. Because the unhappiness is a call towards happiness. We don't like unhappiness. And so we bump our head looking for the happiness. So yes, the unhappiness, what we refer to the suffering, serves a function, but I wouldn't make it an essential aspect of the path. It is part of the path. And the suffering, the unhappiness, always relates to somebody who is unhappy. And this somebody is this current belief that I am a separate consciousness, that there is an external world and an inner realm. And I'm sort of caught between the inner realm and the outer world. And I'm struggling to somehow find this happiness in a certain design of the world, a certain arrangement of the world, and a certain arrangement of my inner world. and that the happiness will result in a certain way. The world is in a certain way I am. That's the veil of ignorance, which basically postpones our happiness right now via the process of thinking and feeling, imagining and feeling and thinking. And behind the thinking and the feeling is still the me, waiting to jump on the prey and get happy, like a lion that's going to grab the antelope. I will be happy when I catch that antelope. But happiness now is out of the question for such a point of view. In fact, our experience is always now. It's never anything else but now. So if there is happiness anywhere, it has to somehow be now. Because that's the reality of my experience. This is where this is what is. So what is happiness now? In the absence of this question, and in your absence as somebody, what's the problem? In the absence of this question, and in your absence as somebody with a history, with a past and a future, could it be that happiness is that simple? Or happiness is some sort of fireworks, some sort of enlightenment thing, and the mind can conjure all sorts of fantastic images or about happiness. But the image about happiness, how does that relate to reality of happiness, the reality of happiness? The reality of happiness and the reality of reality, they are the same reality. So what is the reality of reality? It's reality. Reality of reality is reality. It's its own reality. The reality of happiness was the reality of happiness. The reality of happiness is reality. So what is reality? Well, we could say, what is not reality? Can non-reality be? Can there be? Can there exist? Can non-reality exist? Can there be non-reality? Only as a concept. Only as a concept. Oh yeah, non-reality. But as a And actuality is no such thing as non-reality. Which leaves us with only one option, which is reality. Given that non-reality cannot be. The only thing that is a reality. So reality is everything, our thoughts, imaginations, perceptions, our sensations, our feelings, our emotions, and the reality of consciousness. Because consciousness is the unchanging aspect of reality. And the changing aspect of reality is thoughts, sensations, perceptions, memories, feelings. We realize that reality has those two aspects. We're not talking theoretically, we're talking about our experience right now. Reality has those two aspects, the transparent aspect, the invisible aspect of presence, of awareness, and the visible aspect of the world, of the rain, of the sunshine, of money, of cars, of governments, of oceans, of galaxies, of birds, of gravity. But in this understanding, we're not talking about two realities. We're talking about awareness, consciousness, which is I. This transparent, aware presence, the infinite, invisible beingness. And we're talking about thoughts, sensations, perceptions, the body, the mind, the world, which are the dance of Shiva, which we refer to as Shakti, the dance of Shiva, the movement of the unmovable, the movement of the motionless.
How is it that I am? And I don't mean this physical form.
Yes.
I am. It's a fact.
Yes.
Because
yes.
I know it's self-evident. But at the same time, it's kind of weird. I am, yes, but
what asks this question?
That's a good question. It's a good question. I was going to say I, but is the I that ask the question the same I that is that I am? Or
you have to take a look.
Well, there is only one I.
You have to see for yourself. Yes.
I'm trying to.
Does that one I, the transparency of presence, the reality of being, is that which is asking the question? If it is that which is asking the question, it is the answer.
Again?
If it is that which is asking the question, meaning if it is this aware presence which is asking the question, it is the answer. And if
is it, oh, sorry, that's okay.
And if it is me, the imaginary me that's asking the question, then there is no question. A ghost, a ghost's question, the question of a ghost is not a question.
And could it be possible that awareness or just pure being, I don't know if it makes sense or not, but could it be that I am trying to understand myself through the tool of the mind, or it doesn't make sense at all?
Oh, yeah, no, it could be. I mean, consciousness can play that game. It's actually playing that game.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course, consciousness plays infinite games. Yeah, consciousness playing the game of, let me find out myself via the mind. The mind being what? Thoughts, sensations, perceptions, right? So yeah, consciousness could be playing the game. Let me create thoughts, create sensations, perceptions. And let me play the game of, I don't know, that they are my creation. Let me imagine that me create myself as a person, because why not? Okay, infinite potential, infinite intelligence, infinite creativity. There is the parabola. Bless you. There is the parabola of the son who leaves his father's castle and goes into the village and forgets he's the prince or the princess. And she lives in the village as a pauper. There is that parable, and then slowly she remembers, oh, wait a minute. This is my mother and my dad, the queen and the king are my parents. She recognizes that she's the queen, the princess. It's a parable about that relates to your question. Yes. But in this parable, where we are now, in this parable, we are the princess that is remembering that she is the princess. So what does it matter if you have forgotten that you are the princess and lived for 50,000 years in the village, in a poor hut in the mud with the chicken and the goats? Actually, I don't mind chickens and goats, I like them. What does it matter as long as you are now remembering you are the princess? When the princess is starting to remember she's the princess, she has only one thing on her mind, which is to go to hug and kiss her mom and her dad, right? The king and the queen. That's what she has in. She doesn't care anymore about the village. Of course, it's a parabola. It's a metaphor. It's a story.
Yeah, I experienced more and more this burning desire, this longing. Sometimes I just forget it and get lost in the world and in the mind, like concerning and worrying, but
the mind appears to you. Thoughts, worries appear to you. You are never lost in the mind. They appear to you. The belief that I am a person appears to you. It appears to you as thoughts and feelings and sensations. Just remain attentive that everything is appearing to you and that you are not an object. You are the consciousness, you're the awareness, which you cannot hurt it. You cannot hurt awareness. You cannot rob. You cannot take a gun and rob awareness. You say, oh, give me a little bit of, I don't know, give me your awareness. Just keep remembering that you are this aware presence. It's your experience. Our experience is 100% awareness. Check it out. Check it out.
okay. Yeah, I feel very grateful about this, about the longing to come back home.
Yes.
To remember that I am a princess. To remember that I am the princess.
Charming princess.
Charming princess. Okay.
As consciousness.
Yeah.
In the understanding that I am the princess is the understanding that I am everything and everyone. Not a personal princess. I am the universal princess. Universal consciousness.
Thank you.
Okay, Manuel, mucho gusto. Any questions? Okay, well, thank you all. Fernando, and Indran, Emmanuel, George, Nisa, Holger, Esther, Shiva, Raoul, Grace, Richard, Holly, Frank, Desmond, and Marga. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thanks, Magdi.
Thank you, Magdi.